It is so important to marry the sales and the marketing piece together, especially for small businesses. It's funny too to think back to like the corporate days of all the memes and the videos of like sales and marketing. They were always battling. It's like marketing says this, but sales sold this, and they were two opposite things. But I think as you shrink the scale down to small business, medium business, they don't have to be so separate. Like it can be, they should be more married together.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Exact Digital Podcast, where we talk to agency founders, marketers, and creatives who are doing their thing in their own way and doing them well. Today, I'm joined by Cory Waugh, the co-founder of Ride Marketing Group, a family-run agency that scales smart by focusing on what they're best at, helping local businesses grow through targeted Google Ads and SEO strategies. After leaving a corporate agency where clients were treated more like tickets, Cory and his wife launched Ride to do things differently, with a big emphasis on personal attention, client experience, and real results. In this episode, we'll dive into the leap from corporate agency life to building Ride as a husband and wife team, why Google is their lane and how they use it to win for local businesses, how pricing and process evolve after seeing the burned by another agency effect, and what it really means to grow an agency without losing the soul of why you started. Cory, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. We were just discussing how his wife is really big on like the aesthetics. So I know you guys can see the beautiful bike behind. He has a great mug and it all goes together. Awesome. So we'll get into, Ride marketing and how it started. Let's go back to what pushed you to leave your corporate agency role and launch Ride with your wife.
Yeah, so that's a good question. There's a lot of different places we could start with it, but so my wife and I, we are high school sweethearts, and we got together a couple years ago, and it just worked. And we have had dreams for a long time of starting a business together. She had a couple companies while I went the kind of corporate sales route. She has been on the entrepreneur side for a while, and I always helped kind of on the back end of things with the different businesses she had. But timing for this was perfect for us to start our own thing. And yeah, I was at a big agency and doing marketing like SEO, Google Ads stuff. I left that agency to went into enterprise sales for like wireless company. And while I was there, I was spending time like analyzing my prospects' websites and back-end data when I was supposed to be selling like communications packages. And I was like, all right, I'm doing something wrong here, right? So fast forward a few months, timing was good to kind of start as a side hustle when I went back to the marketing agency. And yeah, it just kind of picked up and timing was good. But I realized when I got taken out of the element, I wanted to get back into it. And just timing was good for all that.
Amazing. So the name Ride is more than just a bike on the wall.
Yes.
Can you explain where it came from and what it represents?
Yeah. So it's an acronym. So it stands for Raise Interest, Demand, and Engagement. And ultimately, like that's what we're trying to do for our clients, right? And which will lead into why we chose to really focus on the Google side of things and the local focus for the type of clients that we work with. But yeah, I mean, we need to help them raise the interest. We need to help them raise demand. And then we use different tools and softwares to help with the engagement and ongoing kind of nurture components. But we wanted to be able to have that brand so clients knew like, okay, this is what these guys do, right? Rather than just, we do SEO, we do websites, we do Google Ads, we help with sales. Like, we sound a lot like everybody else, So that was the branding part to help us stand apart and be easy to focus it. We're putting more acronyms into place also. All our onboarding calls, we call it our cycle call, and more stuff that we go through, matching the branding. And yeah, we ended up with a beautiful bike on the wall also.
I love it. And you mentioned you chose to focus exclusively on Google Ads and local SEO. What led you to narrow it down like that?
Yeah, when we first started the agency, so we started it in the tail end of 2023, and we did a bunch of different things. We were still doing like website design, Google SEO, I would say GMB, GBP optimization. I still prefer GMB, but we were doing all that, the local stuff, running Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Google ads, cold email marketing campaigns, like reactivation campaigns, all that stuff. And it, the social media side, we didn't love it. And it was really hard for the people we were working with to get good content, good pictures, good videos. So that put us to try and do it and create it. It was just taking away from the core of what we wanted to do, was to give people good results and to give them a really good experience. So the earlier this year, 2025, probably January, we really trimmed everything down. And it was like, okay, let's really focus on the type of client we want to help, who that is, the industry, the revenue size, the team, are they growing, all that stuff. We got really specific, and it allowed us to trim stuff away so we could get even better at what we're doing. And I like Google. I like Google Ads. Love website design. My wife does. She's the lead designer. We got a small team of designers to help with stuff. But yeah, so it's just, we enjoy it, and it helps us get good results for the client. So ultimately, that's how it came to be.
Absolutely. And this really busy, overly developed digital space, it's important to make sure that you're focusing on what you're best at. And if that means potentially partnering with some other agency that does what they're great at, in the long run, the clients are the most important. It's much more important to get quality results rather than saying like, oh, look, I'm a jack of all trades, I can do everything, just for ego purposes.
Yes. Well said. Yeah. And that's something that I don't think we tried to spread ourselves too thin in the beginning, but we noticed that it was getting that way. And that was the scary part of why we wanted to try and trim down and focus on what we were really good at. And it's been a breath of fresh air, but it's also been even harder because we trimmed down to focus on what we wanted to focus on, and we've been growing a lot faster. But then it's opened up other things in areas that have been brought to the forefront of like, cool, we had this process, but now we've noticed the gaps here or the gaps here or the gaps here, which has been good to allow us to work on fixing it. But at the same time, you get so busy working in the business, you can't work on it. So it's like these ebbs and flows of kind of this startup, and it's fun though. Like it has been enjoyable making it happen, I guess.
Absolutely. So it's kind of like the shoemaker's shoes have holes in them. You know, you're so busy working with or for everybody else. You're like, oh, wait, I have to turn this on myself and do this for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, even with websites, I think we put out some pretty good websites. They look good, they flow well, they perform well. But when we first made ours, we used a not great builder, and it looked good in the beginning, and it started out as just really a single landing page. And then we kind of bolted on other pages and this and that. But then after like a year or year and a half of having it, it was like, okay, we don't want to show our website. Like it's time for us to work on and build our website. And then that was a fun passion project of building that thing out for a few months. And then when we launched it, it was like, yeah, it feels good, right?
Absolutely. So, would you have any advice for other agencies that are trying to do too much or scale too fast?
Yeah. Don't do it. No, I think it depends on what you're offering. So I coach new agency owners. I do like sales coaching because I have a sales background of, I don't know, a couple decades really, from small business to enterprise. But I coach them and I tell them, think about what you can offer, what you can help with, and don't go too big too fast because you're going to get fatigue, you're going to get burnout and all those things. So write down what you want to help people with, simplify it as much as possible, and be a student of it. Like learn it, dive in. Because when I first started doing this, man, it was so many late nights and early mornings because I was still working like a W-2 job, and just dive into it. Like you have to, because there's so much to learn. There's so many things and it's really easy to get that shiny object syndrome too, especially with the AI and all these components and this and that, and YouTube videos left and right of how to make $10,000 a month by working 30 minutes a day, and like maybe, but it's not that way, right? Like you've got to put in the work, and that's what I think a lot of people don't realize is it doesn't happen overnight. Like it takes a long time for it to come to fruition and actually happen. So kind of a long-winded bounce around answer, but yeah, I mean, focus on what you want to get good at, get really good at learning what that is, and don't try and bite off more than you can chew. Like, yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm not even the biggest Taylor Swift fan, but there's a quote that she says that I kind of live by, and it's a friend to all is a friend to none. So if you have all of these different things going on at the same time, it's difficult to actually nurture certain situations or actually niche down and learn a lot about it because you're trying to juggle all of these things at the same time. And at the end of the day, you're not going to have any quality work. You're working really hard and you're working yourself to death, but maybe it's more important to, start with a couple, focus on those, really learn those, and maybe grow later. Maybe have a partner that does the other things for a moment in time, and then eventually grow into that to learn those tools and graduate your partnership. So just kind of working with it, and kind of do your research for sure.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. We've even mentioned partnerships and stuff, and I think that COVID really helped in the fact that we're all more connected now more than ever. And there's so many online communities. Like I'm a part of probably like 3 or 4 different school communities and Slack groups and WhatsApp groups of agency owners. And there's so many resources in there that I think a lot of people take for granted. And get active, like talk to people, reach out to people. There's some really good communities that I've had issues with things and I've had questions and I've gone to these communities and asked the question, and I've had multiple people like, hey man, I'll hop on a call with you and help you. We'll walk through it and we'll do stuff. And it's cool because a lot of these people are on the other side of the world, right? And they're out there, and like it's cool. It's a really cool place for people trying to start an agency and build an agency and grow. And I feel like there's no better time to do it than right now.
Absolutely. So, in our pre podcast call, you mentioned that many of your clients have been burned by past agencies. How do you rebuild that trust?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think a lot of it comes down to just being authentic is one of the big ones. And there's a big difference too of me wearing the hat of an agency owner versus when I was selling this solution. And like I sold a lot, right? And as a founder and an owner of a business, after you sell, like it's still on to me to make sure that it gets taken care of, everything, right? So I think that goes a long way with people, which that was another reason why I wanted to start this was because, in the past when I was selling, there was issues that were happening and I was going into the back end of messing with like tags and updating data and making CMS changes and keyword changes and all this stuff. But then I was getting in trouble because it wasn't my job, but it wasn't getting done. So my clients needed me. So it was this whole long cycle of me getting to where I'm at now. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just being authentic and coming through and acknowledging and not like I would rather under promise and over deliver, right? I almost said it backwards in my head. It's just, you just got to be real, there's no like secret sauce to it, but that's been a big one is just being honest and being real and being upfront, having conversations, acknowledging it, and then listening to wherever they had their pain points at, whether it was a reporting issue or they never heard from their team anymore, or the communication is a big one. And I think we were kind of chatting before this started of, being able to find out where failure happens and where gaps are, and you can't figure out those things without actually like going towards it and looking at it and communicating about it because we're not mind readers, you know? So I think all those things put together is it puts a lot of ease and letting them like, okay, let's give this a shot. Let's try this again. Right. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Being transparent and, like you said, not over promising. And, for anyone listening out there, if someone tells you they're going to get you the best results that you've ever seen and you're going to the first page within a week and having all these huge promises, not being transparent, not really having reporting, every time they do give you a report, it's all positives, it's probably a red flag.
Run
And
away.
yeah, run away for sure. The best way to gain trust, like you said, is just be honest. Put your dirty laundry in front of you, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, there's nothing that they're hiding."
I think also setting the right expectations up front is crucial because you're right. There's so many agencies that it does overpromise and underdeliver. And that's when we rebranded everything too. We tried to start off with, you know, cheaper SEO packages to kind of check the box and make sure that the stuff was, you Google everything that like, hey, you do these 5 things and you'll crush local SEO and all this and all that. It's like, sure, it will help and make a little bit of a difference, but to really move the needle, like not so much. So I think we revamped all the packages, figuring out who we want to work with. And that helped a lot for us to be able to come to the clients too and say, hey, like, here's exactly what we're doing. Like, this is what's going to happen month over month. And here's the plan and being able to over communicate it. Excuse me, has been a game changer.
Absolutely.
Game changer.
Absolutely. So, what are some client wins or case studies you're especially proud of since starting your agency?
Oh yeah, good question. There's one that comes to mind. When I do monthly calls with my clients still, and that's something that I don't like. I don't ever want to get away from. But I hopped on with a client, and I think we were like 2 months in to launching his website and doing some SEO work. And the guy was amazing. Like, the guy is awesome. I absolutely love this guy. But we hopped on the call, and I looked at the numbers before we hopped on. So I kind of know the idea of like, okay, we see a little bit of increases, but 2 months for SEO, you're not got 1,000 leads coming in, right? That's just not how it works. It takes a little bit of time. But I saw some positive numbers and different things. So I asked him, I was like, hey, like, how's everything going? And he just smiled and he lit up. And I was like, all right, like, this is good. What's going on? And he goes, you guys have been able to do something in the last 2 months that I haven't had in the last 6 years. And I think he went through like 3 different websites in the last 6 years and different companies to try and get it going. He never got one form filled out online in the last 6 years. But he's like, in the last 2 months, he's like, I've gotten 3 jobs through my website for like $120,000. He was a kind of a smaller business, painting, remodeling. So yeah, in the last 2 months, he's like, you guys got me 3 jobs through my website, and I haven't had one form filled out in the last 6 years of every other company. So that was cool. That was kind of recent one that's fresh, but yeah, like it was. It's cool. Like I get excited and smile about the results, because it's impactful. So,
I mean, it goes to show that by being genuine and authentic and doing the grunt work and not just throwing something together because it looks pretty makes such a world of difference. And especially with local companies, that you're putting food on the table for somebody or at least helping them. So it's very fulfilling, more than maybe, paying for someone else's new yacht.
sure. Sure. Yeah, that's funny. It is. It's cool. Like, we work with small businesses. Like, that's really it. Although it's funny, I think, what is it in the government size, a small business is up to like 250 employees, which it's not that small of a business, right? But yeah, it's good. It's good to work with the founders, the owners. A lot of times it is family that we're working with in these companies, and you do see it making an impact, which is great.
Well, that's a perfect segue to this question. So you run the agency with your wife, and your kids are even involved in celebrating wins. What is it like running a family business?
Yeah, it's great. It's not for everybody. I will say that. But my wife and I have been together doing this long enough that, it's kind of like you mentioned the friend thing, right? Like if your friend makes fun of you or can poke at you and you will stay friends longer. There's that component that we have on the trust side of things. And the kids, yeah, the kids are great. They do celebrate. Even when I was selling, we closed deals. We got star trackers around here, and my daughter gets excited to draw new stars when we get new clients. And it's fun. Like we're open about it and we talk to them about it. And it's cool to be able to teach them too, like entrepreneurship and running a business and talking about that with them. And I mean, it's hard sometimes too, trying to balance everything though, but I would rather have it this way and us being able to have the freedom of choice to be able to travel and be with our kids and run a business, especially a virtual business, right? Like we're not tied down to anywhere. So, yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
I mean, that's what life's about.
100%. Yeah. It's just connection, right? Whether it's friends, whether it's family, it's experiences, it's helping people. And it has been very enjoyable. Yeah. It took a long time to get here, and a lot of late nights and early mornings and stressful times for sure, but we are building something and it's been fantastic and very, very enjoyable. So
Amazing. So what's something that you've learned about communication or leadership by working so closely with someone that you live with?
I think you said, I mean, expectations, communication, expectations. Those two things go hand in hand, right? I think if we both know what to expect and we know the direction that we need to go, we can be open and communicate about it. So also, I think for me too, it's constant learning, right? Like we have a small team of folks that like even having to have coaching conversations with them, right? Like we got a graphic designer who was doing some work and it wasn't quite up to what we expected. And now it's like, oh, great. Now we gotta have these coaching conversations, or like some web design work that wasn't close to what we were expecting, right? Like after we went through and spent time like working. But with new team members comes teaching them about how we want to do things, how we want to deliver and all those components. But it still goes back to like expectations, communication. And then the other word that comes to mind, I guess you would wrap a bubble around it of like respect. Because if nobody feels respected, nobody wants to do any sort of work,
Absolutely. It's much more encouraging when someone's like, you can do it. I know you can, rather than why aren't you doing this?
Oh yeah, for sure.
No one wants to work for somebody like that.
Yeah, not at all. Well, it's like that picture. It's a really old picture, but there's a photo up top of somebody like standing on like a sleigh. It's not a sleigh, but whatever. And he's got like a whip basically, and it says like boss underneath it, and all his employees are pulling it in the front. Versus on the bottom, that person is out of the sleigh. He's in the front, and it says leader, and he's helping pull from the very front. So
I like
as
that.
we start to grow and bring more people on, that's the type of culture that we're going to have here.
I believe it. So you mentioned this a little bit earlier, but you've got a strong background in sales. How does that influence your approach to digital marketing strategy today?
I think that sales is becoming more and more important in the digital marketing space more than ever because there's a lot of noise in the space. And like part of what we do for our clients is, hey, what's your sales process? Like, what does it look like? Like I've done a lot of selling, but I've also done a lot of consulting for like growth strategies with different companies. And the sales aspect was a big component of that. So that's kind of an extra like cherry on top that our clients get. It's like, hey, what's your communication? What's your emails when somebody fills out a form? What's your lead up time to when you're showing up for an appointment or you're trying to schedule an appointment? All those little details and how they answer the phone and what they say and how they say it, it matters. And even little details of like, if you walk into a store and somebody says hi versus when you walk into a store and nobody says anything, that one word makes a huge difference in the experience. So I've taken a lot of what I learned on the sales side and the greeting, because I worked in retail when I first started and then went over to the B2B side. So like I've seen a bunch of different layers to sales, and it's cool to be able to pull from all the trainings I've had and all the different things and sprinkle it in where it makes sense for clients to like, hey, let's look at your sales approach a little bit. All right. You're getting all these leads, but you haven't closed one. Like, what's going on? Well, you answer the phone and you sound really angry. Like, let's sound a little more nice, right? Just an example. I haven't actually had that conversation yet, but yeah. So it's been fun. It's been really fun because I don't think I will ever like the sales of me will never leave. It's just ingrained in my DNA. So I still get to pull it in, which is good.
Yeah. I mean, they go hand in hand a lot of the times. And, there was one time I walked into Dollar General and they were like, hey, welcome in. And
Yeah.
then fast forward, I think like 30 minutes, I had to walk into Target. They said nothing. Even though I know Target has higher quality things. Sorry, Dollar General. But I felt more like it felt more professional. I felt like I was in a space that I belonged and they had it together and they wanted me to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it makes such a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Big time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's fun. I mean, it's a lot of things that how we're trying to rebrand all of what we do is even when we build our websites, we do all the content, we do all of the strategy, we do some light branding blocks, we do all the branding, like all that stuff. We're sourcing pictures. It's like a done for you service where there's a lot of times it's like, hey, we'll do the website, but you need professional photos, you need content, you need all of this stuff, bring it to us and we'll put it together. And there's that. And then also the sales piece too is, like I said, it's kind of the cherry on top, but I don't know. I get passionate about it. That's why I'm bringing this back up again because it's so important. Like it is so important to marry the sales and the marketing piece together, especially for small businesses. It makes a huge world of a difference because if somebody goes online and fills out a form for potential like house redesign or kitchen remodel or something like that, they're not just going to one website. They're going to everybody. So now that's when the sales side kicks in. Like, how did you make them feel? Were they said hello to when they first walked in or not? Right. So yeah, it's very important. It's very important.
Absolutely.
Say
And
hi.
they're two very
Say
separate
hi.
things, but they marry together very well and they work in tandem for sure.
Yeah. Which is funny too, to think back to like the corporate days of all the memes and the videos of like sales and marketing. They were always battling. It's like marketing says this, but sales sold this, and they were two opposite things. But I think as you shrink the scale down to small business, medium business, they don't have to be so separate. Like they should be more married together.
Absolutely. So what does growth look like for Ride over the next year or two? Any areas you're exploring or excited about?
Yeah, I think the biggest focus for us right now is truing up just small details with processes. Like we've built out a lot of things for growth and for growing more team members so that we can focus on working on the business more than the in the business stuff. And we've put a lot of folks in place to help with that. But when you bring somebody in, trying to teach them, it opens up more gaps. So the big focus right now is processes more than anything. And the product that we're putting out has been really good. We are seeing good results. So it's just bringing on more folks for some of that work also, as we just can't handle the capacity. And yeah, processes really.
Processes. I mean, you can't drive the car without the tires. So
100%. Right. And sometimes those tires get worn out and you got to replace the tires. And yeah, I like the analogy. It's a
I
good one.
like that.
Yeah.
We've been analogizing it up.
It's good. Yeah, it's been good.
Oh, Cory, this has been such a wonderful conversation from how you show up for your clients to the way you've built this agency with intention. It's clear you're not just chasing growth, you're building something sustainable and personal. If anyone listening wants to learn more about Ride Marketing Group, check out ridemarketinggroup.com to see what Cory and his team are up to. Thank you again for joining me, Cory.
I appreciate it. This was great. Thank you for having me.
course. And what's your wife's name? We got to add her name in here too.
Ashley. Yes. I was joking around
Ashley.
this morning. I was like, she had another event. She was actually out right now too. I was like, next podcast, we'll do it together. We should
Well,
do
shout
it.
out Ashley.
Yes. Yes.
Well, thank you guys for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe.